Hello and welcome back, this is ProTailDev. This time we're going to be looking at Starry Night. This was the game I worked on in my third year of university. This was something that I wanted to show. I wanted to go through some of my university projects, like I said in the previous update video that I did. I mentioned that I wanted to go through some of my uni stuff and kind of show it off a little bit and explain what I did during my third year. And since I haven't had that chance in the last year, I figured I might as well do it now. It's also a good way for me to reflect on some of the things that I did and kind of see how much I've improved. First of all, a little bit of background of this. So this, like I said, this is my third year project that I did. I did a dissertation alongside this game. And this game was really about, it was all about narrative and story and, kind of merging gameplay with that and explaining that environment. So obviously I did a dissertation, and the dissertation was really about immersion and kind of combining those gameplay elements and story elements together. It was all about narrative and finding out the different problems, the different ways of improving, something that developers could easily follow and combine. I talked a lot about films and how scripts are done, how games should really implement this, and I talked a lot about how there's this argument between gameplay and story, and what's more important, whether they should be separate or merged into one, and the goods and bads of that side of sometimes it can be too much or too little when implementing the story together with the gameplay. And I talk a lot about how these type of story games affect not just games and person playing it, but the people outside of that, and I basically go over the whole element of stories. And this project was quite big because I had to write a huge script of an entire story, and I basically went through something along the lines of about 40 to 50 storyboards. I went through everything. Like I said, I made a script, I did a bunch of lore, I filled out the entire world, and this was partly the problem with this project. In the end, couldn't finish it, but that wasn't the important aspect of it. I had proven that I could do everything that a story game needed, and this game was really just an extra to kind of flush out those ideas and those techniques that I was talking about within the dissertation, the report. So this was where I started doing my own drawing. I did my own art. It was really where I tried to learn how to draw a little bit, like to be able to do some stuff. Hopefully I'll have some on screen about some of the ideas I had and some of the concepts and things. But some of the characters and stuff I drawn. I did some sprite sheets, which was my first dive into doing my own drawn animation. So yeah, this was a lot of fun, and the whole idea was this was just an add-on to the dissertation and report, and just implementing some of those techniques and processes. Like I said, my report is really about the story elements. And so the gameplay wasn't as important, but it was still important in this game. This game is just proof that I can do those things, and I can implement story, and I can write scripts. So what you're seeing is actually only a small part. This game is only a small part of the overall main project that I did. Like I said, I don't want to go through all of the different things I had to do, but I had to do a proper storyboarding. I had to do a lot of graphs and a lot of character sheets. I had to do a lot of write-ups of different games and trying to review other games similar to try and get information from them. There was a lot of data and graphs I did, a lot of functional testing, a lot of beta testing and regression testing. Although you'll notice immediately that there are a few spelling mistakes in the character dialogue. There are a few problems with the dialogue, and that is mainly because towards the end I started getting a bit problematic in time. I did keep to a schedule, which I planned all the way before Christmas, and it was essentially covered quite a few months, and I managed to keep up with it, but of course that meant I had to cut out a lot of stuff. Yeah, the story elements though was really heavily planned. I had everything hidden. I had a hidden story planned. I had like endings, the meanings behind different things, films and how they handle stories, different types of processes, things like confrontation and the middle parts of acts, so like different types, so the free structure. I also looked at different kinds of problems with stories that a lot of times you'll encounter. this was actually a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, especially the story elements. I looked at level design quite a lot. Hopefully I've got images coming up now, I should do, of different biomes that I created in this game, you know, kind of the art and everything like that. I had a lot of fun, and I did a bunch of different planning, different how the zones would be structured and what's next to each other towards the ends and starts, all the way up to the ending. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. I tried to do as much as I could. By the end of it, I really thought that I'd covered pretty much everything that I needed to, and I really felt like I had accomplished something, especially at the end of the report. I was very satisfied with it, and looking back at it now, this had a great effect on how I developed games. I developed games very similar to how I learned to develop this. I've improved since then quite a lot. As I mentioned, this game didn't need to be finished. It has plenty of bugs in it. That wasn't important, and it really wasn't what this game was about. It's not very professional to have these kind of big bugs and like spelling mistakes and things, but the person who's marking them didn't really mind. Like I said, it really wasn't about that. It was everything before this game, all of the storyboarding, all of the design, all of the planning, everything, the scheduling, the graphs, the research. It was really all about that, and this is just a little bit extra to try and show that what I've learned a little bit. It really wasn't about the bugs or the spelling mistakes and things. So, for like I've done in the previous games, I'm going to, because this is text, I'm going to be talking over the text so that we can get enrolled a little bit, because it's a little bit boring to just read it. So I'll just probably talk while you see the text come up in the dialogue. You may see cuts every now and again, and that's because I may have encountered a really bad bug, or I may have made a mistake somewhere and I want to kind of cut it out a little bit, just so or it might be because the video might be too long. Okay, let's get into this. A mirror has fallen from the sky after your book vanished in your hands. You are filled with confusion. Pick up the mirror, ignore the mirror, or step on the mirror. Let's pick it up. You stare into the mirror and find a face staring back. A face that feels familiar, yet unknown, begins to speak. You think it's saying something, so you put your ear to the mirror and listen. You can't hear anything. The face in the mirror shows an expression of sadness before the mirror fades away into nothing. What should I do now? So we could go home and tell my parents, we can ask the grown-ups in the village about the mirror, or we can go on an adventure. Let's go on an adventure and find out what's going on. So what do we do first? Let's go this way. We got a stick here, which we can pick up. So let's pick that up just in case we may need it. We can jump. Who are you? My form is that of a dolphin, and I am a celestial being called Delphinus. I help fishermen who get lost at sea find their way home. You can call me Delphi. Nice to meet you. What's your name? Aurora, but my friends call me Aura. Nice to meet you, Aura. So, what are you exactly? I am a loyal servant of Apollo. I was placed in the heavenly sky by Apollo as a reward for saving humans at sea. While I'm stuck here, I can't save anyone. My power is lost and fell nearby when I was falling from the heavens. My godly power would have taken a more physical form in order to exist here. Who are you? There was a rumble and a red flash. I started falling from my godly domain in the heavens above. I landed here and couldn't move. What do you mean, domain? We gods and demigods have our own domain where we can use our influence to affect the world below. I can't return to my domain on my own. My power is gone and the heavens have become unstable. Something bad is happening and will only bring disaster here on Earth. I will help you save your home, little one. Don't worry about my power, your safety is more important. I might be able to help you, but first let me go back to the village and see what's going on. Let's do that. I understand, little one, thank you. This body isn't real, I will fade away soon. To make sure I can stay with you and help you, I need to enter an object. Your headband will work. Okay. Delphi has joined your party. There is also a large amount of spiritual energy coming from you. I will try and control it for you so that you can use it. With this energy, you might be able to go to the spirit domain, but only for a limited time. In the domain, I might be able to use my power when I get it back. We might find clues on what's happening. There might be dangers now that the boundary between worlds is broken. I think it's safe to go right now. Press down arrow to travel to the astral sphere, or press again when you have reached your destination to come back. Let's do a little bit of exploring, see what we can find. Maybe we should go up, see if we can see anything. Oh. Okay, we're in some kind of domain. Let's see what we can do. Do you have some kind of attacks and abilities? Kind of creeper. Let's head back. So we've met Dolphin. Let's see if we can meet someone else. Let's restart and see if a different decision will affect what we actually do. Let's restart. A mirror has fallen from the sky after your book vanished in your hands. You are filled with confusion. Let's ignore the mirror this time. You ignore the mirror on the floor. A voice begins to echo in your head. You want to have a look at the mirror. Let's continue to ignore it. The mirror glows as if seeking attention and then disappears. What should I do now? Let's go home. Let's tell our parents what's happened, what we've seen. So let's go right this time. Hey, human child. Let's hide. Let's press Q to hide. Sir, even if you hide, I know you're there. I need your help. Let's go out then. Let's have a look and see who this is. Who are you? My form is that of a bird, and I am a celestial being called Servok. I help Apollo by delivering messages to other gods and any other task that is requested of me. You can call me Sir. Nice to meet you. What's your name? Aurora, but my parents call me Aura. That's an unusual name for a human. Yours is different too. You're right. Child. No. Aura. I like it. What are you? I am a servant of Apollo. I made a mistake when serving him and was locked away. in my domain in the sky. That doesn't sound fair. Being the great and wise god that he is, he forgave me. I was placed among the stars by Apollo as an apology. I was free to fly wherever I like until today. What are you doing? There was a rumble and a red flash. I began to feel weak and had no choice but to come to your realm. I flew from the sky down to the trees and hid until the rumbling stopped. My domain where I come from is my home and I can no longer get back. What do you mean, domain? We gods and demigods, we've already seen this. I'm going to skip through this because we've actually seen this from the other character. If I can get control of my domain, I might be able to figure out what is going on. It will benefit us if I join you. With your strength we can get back my domain and save everyone. Don't have time. We might be able to help, but first let's get back to the village and see what's going on. I'll ask you later if you're ready. Thank you. This body isn't real, I will fade away soon, so let me stay with you, go on the headband. Yep. Do it. Sir has joined your party. There's also a large amount of energy coming from you. We'll try and control it for you so you can use it. With energy you'll be able to go to the spirit domain for only a limited time. Okay, let's go on and find some clues. Some of this we've already seen. Pressing down we can go up. Okay, let's carry on. So the game was meant to start off slow and introduce you to these two characters, and these two characters would essentially guide you through the story. You would gain a third character, and then in total you would have all three, just in different order. Depending on the order you got them would change the story. A sweet smell is coming from a picnic basket of fresh cakes and bread. I should probably leave it here in case the owner comes back. So the whole point, yeah, like I was saying, is that these three characters would guide you along, and you would have to make crucial decisions later on about these three characters and who you would choose to stay with you. Who they essentially would favour most depends on a lot of the decisions. So much of this game would actually take inspiration from different myths and legends, as well as different gods, as you noticed, and kind of mash them all together. This was important for the story, and a hidden story, and since this game isn't coming out anytime soon, basically the whole point of this was to figure out what's happened to your parents when you find out they've gone missing, and to find out what their connection is with the gods, as well as the different myths in the world. It actually comes clear towards the end, but I'm not going to be showing that. So the whole point is that this would all be mashed together. Eventually you'd realise that this is all connected to a book that you're reading. And as you notice, the book was very, very important. It comes clear as everything is focused around the parents throughout the story. Who's there? Don't come any closer. Alright, is that you? Where have you been? Now I'm going to skip through some of this because we're getting close on time. But the whole point is all about decisions, and these different decisions that you make will affect the story completely. So, for example, now we've got this person up here who wants to speak to us. We can actually ignore him and move on. If you ignore him, what will happen is he would have told you some key information and then told you where a special item is hidden. If you don't do that, if you don't go and get that item, you won't be able to access something later. Over here, you'll get an option of speaking to this person who will stop you. You can see 3 books. These 3 books will determine what type of person will have a special ability in the boss fight, for example. and as well as it will also determine what you need to do throughout the game. It'll also give them a clue as to where to go, but you can only choose one, and so that'll change everything. The whole point is that this would eventually lead to an ending, which would, I think, a total about 9 different endings, and I tried my best to make sure that they were all very satisfying ends, where you felt complete. The overarching story is that she is reading a book that is the final book that her parents gave her before they were in an accident. So what you're seeing here is all of the different the village that we're in, and you can go and speak to these different people. They'll speak to you first off to introduce themselves, and then what you do after you speak to them is that you'll get the option to go and speak to them again if you want. But we'll leave that there. So let's go back to the main menu for now, and then I'll talk about kind of the overall arcing story that was going on. Obviously, like I said, this was only supposed to show elements of story, and really the story was already flushed out within the dissertation, where I talked about everything in there, so there was no need for me to have everything in the game. But basically, with the 3 characters that you'll eventually meet with Delphi, Sir, and Ursa, which is Ursa Minor, one of the stars, which is a teddy bear. Hopefully, again, you'll see him in the art, maybe he'll be on screen now. But basically, after getting all these elements, these all different people representing different parts of the mind, and they would all interact and influence your decision. So each one, the whole point is that they would have an argument. You'd have Delphi, who's the more caring type, the more worried, more motherly type, and Cervic, who's the more adventurous, dangerous, and more mature, but more dangerous, more active, and more adventurous, essentially. He'll take more risks while Delphi won't. And you've got Ursa, who's right in the middle, Teddy Ursa, who will essentially act as a intervening quality of childlike elements. So they will often, whichever one you kind of go for, they will try and push towards that decision, and it'll be your choice whether to still go with it. For example, if you said that something was fun, they're more likely to agree with you if it's fun anyway. They're more likely to try and take risk, and there's basically this 3 element there's a very big element of family, but of course you're still in control. The whole point is that these 3 would argue eventually, and you would have to make serious decisions that would affect everything, including all the other characters that you don't meet yet. And this was really what the game was about, making these decisions. Each decision would change the route completely. You may not see other places that you might have if you chose a different character. This obviously gives it more replayability and a lot of fun. Okay, so that's all I'm going to show for now. Hopefully you got a little bit of an idea. Like I said, the main project for me was actually more about the dissertation and the overall report. This was just something extra. But hopefully next I'll probably be showing what I did for the group project, the group game, and that one was all about coding. It was all about the game itself. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea of what my project was about for my 3rd year. I know the gameplay wasn't very exciting, and there wasn't enough time to really get into it because it's quite extensive. However, hopefully it gave you a very brief idea of what it looks like and how it plays a little bit and how it works, and hopefully you got an idea of what my dissertation was about and my overall report. Okay, so I'll see you next time.